The breaking of America, the only thing this administration does well. What's up, everybody? Welcome aboard to Bubba's Bottom Line for Sunday, October the 30th. What is Beggars Night? Pretty soon we'll all be beggars if we continue to let this regime stay in place and do what it's doing, which is breaking Americans one by one, taking out the middle class as basically as fast as they can. I don't know that any other administration in history has done more damage to the middle class than this one. And of course, that is basically, I think, their agenda. I don't think there's any question if you look around and see what's going on in all the different things that we would watch. And of course, obviously, inflation being one of the top things that we would be looking at. Okay. I mean, again, inflation is nothing more than a tax, which goes back to what they say, taxation without representation. But of course, this has been the MO of these idiots and these who don't care and hate America, as very similar to the gentleman, or whatever you want to call him, in Wisconsin running against Ron Johnson, okay, who hates America, admits it, okay, but yet, you think people are going to vote for him? In this country now, with the damage that has been done, you never know, okay? But as we saw in an interesting week, tech, it continues to implode. We'll call it the tech big puke. Markets didn't seem to mind, which we'll talk about in our market report, but again, tech continues to get hammered. Okay, and of course, Google and Amazon reported this week, and both missed pretty dramatically. And in fact, Amazon at one time on Thursday night was down over 20%. Okay, in the aftermarket. So it's been interesting, but again, the markets don't always care about what we think they should care about. And the one thing we will remember and must remember is that the market is always right. Okay, but here's an issue. You have a president who claims that gas was over $5 a gallon when he took office. Now, we all know that gas was under $2 in most parts of the country, and only the ridiculously high tax states like Illinois, California, and New York was it over $2 then. But of course, interestingly enough, we have an administration that takes no blame for anything. They continue to blame everybody but the person that they see in the mirror. It is everything that's going on is everybody else's fault. It doesn't mention that we've given away everything to others. And if you want to talk about a potential conspiracy theory, and I'm good at that, if you ask me, I would bet a lot of money that China, Russia, and Saudi Arabia are behind this market rally, this suppression of grains or food products, okay, and the suppression of the price of oil. Nothing has really changed, but yet markets are higher, grain prices and food prices are lower at the trading end, not necessarily at the retail end, okay, but it should translate. And of course, gas. So, to me, they want to keep this administration intact. And you have to ask yourself, why would they care? Well, it's very obviously why they care. Because they've got full control of what this country does. As we look at who's in charge now, we are sellouts. We have sold out. We have sold our soul to the devils. Okay, when you stop using one of your main natural resources, oil, okay, natural gas, okay, and you sell it out to the enemy, okay, they have total control. So again, am I right? I don't know. I guess we'll see. But one of the big problems in this country is that we forget what it was like 2 years ago. But if gas is back under $5 and $4, going into the election, and suddenly your 401k is lifted a little bit, okay, you might think, oh, well, they're doing a good job, because we tend to forget where it was before these idiots took office. Okay, so I think that you're seeing a big battle, and of course we have this battle in the press. Okay, because the press does not report the facts, and neither side. I mean, again, there's more left reporting than right, but I don't think either side tells the truth. I think they both tell the story, the narrative of what they want. Okay, and I think what that is doing is that is pushing more people to be independents. As we all know, the election is a week from Tuesday. Okay, and I think that if you had an independent candidate that was trying to run now, there may not be a better chance for somebody to win who was independent. But of course, as we've talked about before, in this country, we don't get a choice of Coke or Pepsi. We get a choice of Coke or Pepsi. We don't get no RC Cola. In other words, we don't get a third party. Okay. One of the big concerns I think we should be thinking about is the mail-in ballots again. I mean, they're coming in strong, fast and strong. And I know people that were mailed 6 and 7 ballots. Okay. Now, again, those people destroyed those ballots, but there are many that will not. And, I voted in Nevada, okay, and they didn't even ask for any ID, which is, again, these are things that are very concerning to me as we go into this election. And, if you look at the numbers, okay, and you know what's going on, it would be a mathematical impossibility for the Democrats to hold the House. The Senate, I'm not so sure. I can't. The Senate is too tough to call. But if we use history and we go back historically, the House always rotates. Okay, so it's not like it's a speech against this administration, although it could be a much bigger one. But this is something that is historically that happens. Okay. But these mail-in ballots, once again, are causing some concern to me, and the way that they track things, and of course, the massive amount of illegals that are in this country now. But you now are seeing some lifelong Democrat politicians that are voting Republican coming up. Now, again, as you know, I support neither party. I think they're both a bunch of crooks. Okay. But I do want to see the government split. I don't like one party in total control. I think we do need, at least if you have criminals and you have some checks and balances, you might have a better shot. Okay. Now, again, you have talk of President Biden launching economic war on China. What's he going to do? Okay. Take a pay cut from them? We've all watched and heard the story of Hunter Biden, and you have to be in amazement that nothing has been done before the election when they knew about it and had the laptop, and still to this day. Okay, nothing has really been done with Hunter Biden. Yet we're in the second year, of this presidency. Okay. And if it was President Trump's kids, you would never have stopped. I mean, obviously, interestingly enough, they're still going after Trump. And the question is, why do we waste all this money going over things that are meaningless? Okay. Do you think you're going to actually prove? You've been trying to nail Trump since 2015. Okay. It's 2022, and yet you have nothing. Okay. But, I think you have some real big hotbed issues at this election. One, Roe versus Wade, which again I think was a dumb thing to do anyways. No matter where you stand, overturning that at this point was kind of silly. But I think one of the big things is this transgender kids and in school. I think this is a real political battlefield, and I think that it's being made a battlefield. I don't think that parents. I don't think you, as a parent, you want to even put ideas in your children's head, because of course the younger children are, the more easily they are manipulated or taught the wrong thing. And I think that's a big story that we've seen go on in this country Okay, our education system is the absolute worst. It's 43 years ago we went to we made the education system as it is today. Okay, it's trillions of dollars down the drain, and we are at the bottom of the major countries in education. Okay, we do not have a good system for education because basically our children are being brainwashed from the time they start school until the time they get out. And I think that's a very big problem. And I got news for you. I don't know about you, but I'm sick and tired of hearing about the transgender issue. I don't want it taught in my kids' schools. Okay. Fortunately, my kids are older now, but I had a problem when they started allowing them to go to the bathroom. If you identified as a woman, you go in a woman's bathroom. I had a big problem, and I did discuss that with the school because, of course, I have a daughter. And I don't want some sicko, I'm not saying transgender is sicko, but I don't want somebody pretending so they can go into that bathroom. I think that's a problem. Okay. The Fed reports this week. Now, here's where we're going to find out a big story. Okay. The big story is going to be, is the Fed independent, which we know it's not truly independent. It's supposed to be, but it's not. But are they independent or are they picking a side in the election? Okay. Now, if they don't hike at least 3/4 of a point, okay, if not a full point, then they're picking a side. Okay. They're taking the left. Okay. If they raise more, they'd be taking the right. But obviously at this point, they'd be more likely to take the left. You could listen to Janet Yellen, who doesn't recognize still what's going on in recession. I mean, the way this woman talks, and she's supposed to be pretty bright, right? And maybe she is. I mean, obviously she's very well educated, but she's an idiot. Okay, and the things that she says are totally clueless and show that she has no idea what the fuck is going on. Okay, and it's sad that we have to be dependent on idiots like this. Okay, now of course there are some Republicans, some GOPers looking into an investigation for Soros and what's going on with some federally misused federal money. Well, that wouldn't be a surprise, would it? I mean, we know that George Soros has been behind a lot of the bad crap that's been going on in this country over the last few years, if not the last 50 years. But paying for rioters, paying for protesters, okay, busing them in. We know that he was behind that. Okay, so misusing federal funds, would it surprise you? It certainly wouldn't surprise me. Okay, I mean, he's, in my opinion, he's not a good person. In my opinion, he hates America. He hates everything. He likes one thing. He likes money. Okay, and when you're in his position, you have the opportunity to wield a great deal of power and get more of that money. Now, why? That's always the $1 billion question. But I think one of the things you must start to be concerned about is mortgage rates skyrocketing. On Friday, they hit 7%. Okay. Auto repossessions skyrocketing. Okay. People are walking away from their car loans. Okay. I'm almost losing my mind. Credit card debt at all-time record highs. Okay. So yes, people are spending. And I had talked to somebody on Friday who would be in the know. Okay. I can't say who, but who would be in the know. And I said, you would know more than anybody because you're involved in a lot of this stuff. And he said that they're spending and don't care about the debt, knowing that they can figure out a way to wipe it out. Okay. Now, that's pretty scary to me because, again, somewhere along the line, these vendors, these people are going to have to be paid for their goods and services. Their bankruptcy laws are much more challenging. And there's a lot of problems, but the real problem comes back down to, as in the past, is a massive amount of debt, which can't be serviced, telling us that the banks are over leveraged and that they probably couldn't pass a legitimate stress test. This is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, October the 30th. It is Beggar's Night. And of course, I hope you get dressed up in your costume. I won't. To me, I'm a costume on myself every day. In the meantime, we're going to stop by for a break. We'll be right back with our market report after we talk about our sponsors. What's up, everybody? Happy Halloween. again, we have, as you know, we have a couple of sponsors that we talk about every day and every week. And, I think that it's important, that you understand that I have many brokers, but I have two favorites, one for futures and commodities and one for options and equities. And of course, for options and equities, it's Tradier Brokerage. Why Tradier? Well, first of all, they're $10 a month. Second of all, we have the ability to automate your trading at no extra charge if you're in our portfolio models. And if you're in our hedging, we have a license program that you can use, which is still going to be much cheaper than having anybody else execute for you, and it does it automatically, so you don't have to worry about watching it. Okay. Plus the fact that Tradier is going to have cryptos that you're going to be able to trade in your account. Plus they're also sponsoring our Las Vegas event, either in person at Circa, okay, or on live stream, okay, and you save $500 if you have an account with them or open one, okay, and you can go to try.tradier.com/Bubba. That's try.tradier.com/Bubba. You can see the link scrolling on the side, along with Capital Trading Group's link, CTG. Listen, they're the best futures broker ever, and I'm gonna make this statement to you so you get a good feel for where I'm coming from, okay. I understand many of the other retail brokers. Listen, I have Thinkorswim, I have Schwab, and I can trade futures at those. But you know what? I don't get the same advantage of trading futures that I do of trading with CTG or with a qualified futures broker. Remember, there are two different types of brokerage. Margins are different. The restrictions are different. And if you're using an equity broker, they are facilitating to help you, which means you're not going to get the same service and you're not going to get the same benefit. So keep that in mind. In the meantime, Capital Trading Group, they manage all my money. They are partners with on Day Trader's Dream, and they are the best I've been with customer service-wise. Check them out, info.capitaltradinggroup.com/Bubba. That's info.capitaltradinggroup.com/Bubba. Again, scrolling on the sides. And of course, our high school program, which I don't want to throw in the towel. I may have to because it's unfortunate that since COVID, it's hard to get back into the schools because this administration has destroyed even more the education system. And with tenure and everything else, nobody wants to teach anything. In the meantime, if you want to help us out so we can try to go back and educate our youth, go to patreon.com/Bubba Trading. That's patreon.com/Bubba Trading. In the meantime, let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line and our market report. Welcome back. It is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Todd Bubba Horowitz, and of course it is Sunday, the Beggar's Night, the 30th of the 30th of what month? October. It is the 30th of October, and of course hope you have a good Halloween. In the meantime, as I said in the opening, the big puke in tech had virtually no effect on the markets as they have broken to the upside and are skyrocketing. Okay, it's amazing. I mean, skyrocketing is a relative term, but the amount of they've gone up, and it's interesting. Somebody said to me the other day, "Well, it's amazing how far markets will go when they're wrong." I said, "Well, markets are never wrong. Okay, the market is always right. You're wrong, okay, because you're losing money, but the market is always right. And I may not agree with what the market's doing because the economy sucks, but it doesn't matter. So you either participate or you get drilled. Okay. In the meantime, we are coming in today. We saw a big moves in all the indexes this week, basically straight up. Okay, we have we during the week and coming in we had reversed and we are long 3 of the 4 major indices. And tonight or tomorrow, depending on when you trade, we'll be long the Nasdaq as well. So we'll be long all 4 major indices after tonight or tomorrow. Again, by Tuesday morning or by Monday morning, everybody will be long the Nasdaq as well. So, are we late to the party? The price action suggests that there's more room to go. Okay, I personally don't like it, but of course I will make the trade because again, I'm not going to fight the tape. Remember, you don't fight the tape, you don't get short in the dull market. Lots of old things, as they say. In the meantime, the metals markets continue to be under heavy pressure for whatever reason. And of course, you have many of those that want to blame the dollar. Okay, so we're still short metals, okay, and we're still long dollars, but the dollar got hammered last week, down almost 4 full points, or if you hear him quote on TV, 400 points. I mean, it went from 114 to 110. It's 4 cents, okay. if you say, look at that, they go, well, the dollar is too high. Well, the dollar came down. Why didn't the metals rally? Because they're weak. That's why. Right now, they're weak. Now, again, I believe that you should have some physical metals in your portfolio. Why? Because you may need them as a currency at some point. Okay. In the meantime, we're short gold and silver. We're long dollars. We're also long. I apologize. We reversed dollars on Friday. My bad. Okay. We're short dollars. We're long euro currency now. Okay, which is a horrible trade in my eyes. I mean, I don't know about the dollar, but the euro currency I think is going to 88 cents. But again, doesn't mean it can't go to $1.05 first. Excuse me. Bonds and notes continue to be under pressure. Yeah, they had a little bit of a rally last week, which is not a surprise. But the Fed is insistent that they're going to get these rates to 5%. And I think that's where this FOMC meeting is going to come out. And of course, we've got the election. And I think, after the election, I think if the Republicans take the House, you get a rally and then a sell-off. If the Democrats maintain, I think you just get a sell-off. Okay, that's how I would evaluate this. But the Fed will be a big key, like as I said, coming up this week. Crude, we continue to be short. It had a moderate week, mixed back and forth. Look, I really believe crude's going to all-time new highs. But again, right now it's hovering along with natural gas, which is lower as well. It's interesting how the price changes from here to like Europe. They're paying about 6-7 times what we're paying for nat gas, and of course that's because Russia's got control, and of course Biden gave them that control. So again, you have to let's just evaluate factually. You don't have to pick a side, but if you just evaluate factually, okay, we could be supplying them with all the natural gas they want. Okay, but again, who am I to speak? Okay, in the meantime, copper, which we're short, is had a medium week. Again, it's not much going on. Bitcoin continues to be stuck in a very, very tight range. I think it's going to break out to the upside. I think that the Bitcoin is going to come much bigger into play. But again, remember, in that market, you're gambling if you're playing it. Okay. In the grain markets, which we are split, we're long corn, short wheat, short soybeans. They're just chopping around. And this goes back to, again, what we talked about in the opening. Are they being manipulated or pushed down? You can hold markets down when they're thin for a week, 2-3 weeks. You can kind of work on them a little bit, especially if you have enough capital. And certainly China, Russia, and Saudi Arabia do have that. So we'll see. Okay, but right now we're split, but I think they're going a lot higher, and I think that after the election, I think these things explode as well. In the protein complex, we're long everything, hogs, cattle, okay, and they were higher. I think they're probably a little bit too high right now. If you've seen me on RFD TV, I talk about I think they're just in a band and a range, and I don't think they're going down, but I think there's much more room to go higher. In the softs. Cocoa got crushed, we're short. Cotton got crushed, we're short. Sugar is down, we're short. Coffee's getting killed now, and we're short. And of course, OJ's going to Pluto, and we're still long. So overall, pretty good. The portfolios did well last week for the most part. And again, it's trading the price action. That's what we're trying to do. We're not trying to have an opinion as to what goes on. Look, again, big week this week coming. Fed, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 2 o'clock Wednesday, the announcement, jobs on Friday, and then the election next week. So we'll see. We should have a lot of answers in 2 weeks, but we should have answers by next Sunday when we get together on Bubba's Bottom Line. In the meantime, I'm going to step out here for a break. We're going to come back with, of course, my commentary and my football picks. Bubba's Bottom Line, October 30th. Beggars Night. We'll be right back. Well, kids, again, just a reminder, they're on this, scrolling on the sides, and on the bottom is the high school program. Our sponsors, Capital Trading Group, Trade Your Brokerage, who is sponsoring our event in Vegas, okay, and our high school program. Check them out, okay. Look, again, I use them myself. The reason I only give you recommendations of things I vet and use myself, okay. If I wasn't using it, I wouldn't give it to you, okay. Let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line with my commentary and, of course, my football picks. Welcome back. It is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, October the 30th, Beggars Night. And I'm begging for some winners. In the meantime, as you know, every week I give you some commentary. And, as we all know, finally, Elon Musk has taken over Twitter, okay, which I think is a good thing. I think I think one of the big problems in this country is the lack of freedom of speech and the lack of the ability to put your opinion out there. In reality, with again, I think that everybody should have the right to put out their opinion, whether you be conservative, whether you be liberal. I don't think it matters. Okay? But I think the interesting thing this week is, of course, Kanye West. Okay. Now I want to know where the outrage is. Okay, from Kanye West's anti-Semitic tweets. Okay. I thought, I guess it doesn't matter. Jewish lives don't matter. Okay, is that what that means? Okay, that you to me, again, this is where the problems in this country really lie. Okay, you have an administration that is a piece of shit. Okay, that is one-sided. Your president has been proven as the biggest racist, one of the biggest racists in recent history. Okay? Again, that's not my opinion, that's fact. Okay. And you start to create more racism with the divide and conquer routine. Okay. And now you have tweets like this going out, like from Kanye West, being anti-Semitic, but yet there is no outrage about that. And I'm just wondering, at what point, where does the outrage have to come from? Why are certain groups being targeted? Does that mean there's going to be more outrage there? Okay. So I think that this is, again, the breaking of America. We talked about this as we opened. This is the problem, as they try to separate everybody and try to, again, divide by conquering. Okay. So again, look, I think everybody should be treated equally. I think that's the way that I was brought up. Okay, and I happen to be a Jew. Okay, and I happen to have been brought up through busing. Okay, through integration. So I've been through it all, and I think that everybody should be equal. And I don't think that we should allow a hate speech. But this is a problem, because certain hate speech is okay and certain is not. And that's where I find the bigger problem, and that is being more because it's accepted by this administration. This is Bubba's Bottom Line, and let's talk about football. Okay, we got 3 games we like tonight. Okay, or today. We like the Dolphins. Okay, the Finns. Okay, we like the New York Jet. Okay, against New England, and we like the flu-stricken Las Vegas Raiders. Okay, so those are our 3 selections for today. In the meantime, have a wonderful weekend. Happy Halloween, and don't eat too much candy. We'll see you all tomorrow with Bubba's Day Update, and of course next Sunday with Bubba's Bottom Line. Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you later.